Hello everybody, welcome back to the CCNA Routing and Switching series brought to you by ABY Design and Tech. You are joined here with your instructor Abdurrahim Chowdhury, and in this video we are going to have a look at what a computer network is. This is probably the most important question that we as network engineers need to ask ourselves, and it's something that we need to understand. Since we're going to be building these computer networks, implementing these really cool technologies, we need to understand why we are doing it. It doesn't make sense to build something when you're not building it for a purpose. So in this video we're going to dissect what a computer network is, what purpose a computer network serves, and why as humans we now rely on computer networks so much for everything that we do. So to start off with, let's look at what networking is. So simply put, networking is the process of communicating and sharing information. And as human beings, we have been networking for years. So when you speak to a colleague, when you speak to a family member, essentially what you are doing, you are networking. You're sharing information, you're sharing data. That information and data can be as simple as telling somebody your name, telling somebody your phone number, or it could be, example like this, more advanced as explaining or teaching somebody about a topic. Now, in simple terms, like I said, networking is just a process of sharing data. So let's have a look at a basic example. So in this example, let's have a look at how people would network. So in this case, Bob and Brad. Now, Bob is a customer at Brad's shop. And so at first, they share information and data. So in this case, Bob is sharing information about what his name is, so is Brad. Now, Bob is sharing information that from all the cool kids on the block, he heard that Brad is the man who sells these cool t-shirts. Brad responds by saying, "Yes, Bob, I do sell these cool t-shirts. Come and have a look." And so what Bob and Brad are doing here, they're sharing information. So Bob is telling Brad his name, so is Brad. And now Brad is offering Bob a service. In this case, the service is that Bob can buy really cool t-shirts from the shop that Brad owns. This essentially would be an e-commerce service. Now, why is this relevant? It's really important to understand that as human beings, we have been networking for years, like I've said before. Again, the process of networking is just communicating. It's just this process of communicating and sharing information. Now, as human beings, we have been trying to make this sharing of communication, this sharing of data, faster and faster and faster. We've invented things such as airplanes to allow us to travel between countries so that we can meet up in person quicker. Cars so that we can drive to a friend's house, a family member's house, get there very, very quickly. The postal service, so that if somebody lives in another country, we can send them a letter and that letter will be with them in a few days, again allowing us to stay in touch with each other, allowing us to keep on networking even when we're countries apart. However, how does this link to computer networking? Now, computer networking is what I would call the ultimate form of networking. Essentially what we've done is that by creating computer networks, we've taken everything that we can do in the real world, we can now do them over a computer network. We can now do it over a screen. We don't even need to leave our house. So computer networks allow humans to communicate and exchange data quicker than ever before. And to simply put, like how networking is just a bunch of people communicating and sharing information, computer networking is just a bunch of devices. These are electronic devices, computers, laptops, phones, TVs, servers, etc. These are all the devices that are communicating with each other and they're sharing information with each other. As an example, on your computer, you may upload a file to your Google Drive, your Gmail Drive, your OneDrive. That is computer networking. That's the process of you're sharing that information, you're sharing that file with that cloud-based service. Now, computer networking, it was designed to obviously be very, very fast, and the goal of computer networking is to ensure that traffic, or what I like to call information, goes from point A to point B as quickly as possible. This diagram shows an example of a small computer network, and as you can see, like I said before, just a whole bunch of devices, your PCs, your smartphones, laptops, smart TVs, etc. They're all communicating, and again, what information they're sharing, it just depends on what's going on. So as an example, smart TV, you're probably going to be streaming your Netflix. Computer, you may be sending an email. Phone, you may be sending a WhatsApp message. So again, this is all communication which is taking place, but it's just different forms of information sharing of communication. Now let's piece this all together. So I get what you're saying. Okay, Abda, I understand that these devices are all communicating together, but how are they communicating together? As an example, let's say that Bob wants to visit his friend Brad. How does Bob get to Brad? He probably is going to drive his car there. He's probably going to cycle there. So something with computer networks, there has to be something in between. Let's say Bob and Brad's computer, if they're sending emails, there has to be something between these interactive devices like smartphones, computers, printers, etc., which allow for that communication to take place. And that's where us as network engineers come into play. So as network engineers, we are going to set up and configure these other electronic devices which work in the background and which help to facilitate and essentially build this computer network. You could think of them as the roads between cities. To get from city to city, to get from town to town, we obviously drive over these roads. And obviously we don't build the roads. These, as in me, I don't build the roads. You probably don't build the roads unless you work in that sort of industry. However, these roads are just there, and these roads are to help facilitate traveling between these cities and essentially making it faster. It's the same thing as with airplanes. When we go on an airplane to go to a different country, we don't build the airplane. We just get on the airplane, flies for a few hours, and the next thing you know, you're at another city, you're at another town. The same thing here is that everyday users of a computer network who just want to browse on the internet, who want to send WhatsApp, there's devices in the background that us as network engineers configure and work on to allow that communication to take place. And I like to call these network devices the workers. And these facilitate the interaction between humans. So like I said, as a human being, you would go into your laptop, you want to access some e-commerce service like Amazon, you want to purchase some product, let's say a book, some household items, a blender, etc. That's all well and good. However, for your computer to browse into Amazon, for your computer to get to Amazon, there has to be something in between to facilitate that communication. It's all well and good having an e-commerce service on the internet, but it's no use if nobody can reach it. Like I said before, these workers work in the background to ensure that when we send emails or stream Netflix, that information gets to the right location, and also ensure that we can actually perform these functions as well. Now don't get me wrong, these workers, they also communicate with each other on the network. The difference between, let's say, these worker devices and the devices that we use is that the devices we use, like computers, smartphones, smart TVs, they require interaction. So they were designed so that humans can interact with this computer network. The worker devices I'm talking about, these run in the background. Obviously, they need human interaction at first from us as network engineers to set these up. But once we've set these up, these run in the background and they are tasked with ensuring that this computer network runs smoothly and that people can interact with this computer network and access everything that they need to access. And if you think about it, let's take the internet as an example. The internet, all that is just a massive computer network allowing people to access anything that they want. In essence, we create a computer network so that we can communicate faster, and that's the most important thing to remember. Just like how we created roads so that we could travel between cities faster, just like how we created airplanes so we can travel between countries faster, we've created the ultimate form of communication where we can communicate instantaneously within a few seconds, within a few minutes. We can purchase products within a few seconds, within a few minutes. We can keep in contact with family members again within a few seconds. Just communication happens so quickly. So let's talk about these worker devices, or what I like to call the real heroes. So we have a switch, layer 2 device, which is used to build a LAN. So again, that's a spelling mistake. That should say LAN. It says WAN. Again, we're going to get, so I want to list these devices. Obviously, we'll get into more depth about what these devices do. Router, which gets us onto the internet. Firewall, which protects us from bad guys. A wireless access point, which allows us to connect to this computer network wirelessly. So instead of having to have a wire to connect to the computer network, we can have our mobile devices, our smartphones and laptops connected to this computer network wirelessly. We can move around the house and still be connected to our computer network, or our network. We have a wireless LAN controller. Now, you'll only see this in a corporate environment. A wireless LAN controller allows us to essentially control access points around a corporate environment and access the brain for those access points. And again, we are going to go into more depth about what each device does and what specific function it performs in a computer network. And the following subsequent videos after this video, that's what we're going to dive into. So we reached the end of this video, guys, and to be fair, that's really it. This is a short video essentially just explaining what networking is. And again, I just like to recap. So computer networking is just the ultimate form of networking. It essentially allows us to communicate faster. Essentially what we've done is that through computer networks we built this virtual world which allows us to do everything that we can do in the real world, in this virtual world, but just very, very quick. Like I said before, let's compare computer networking to people networking. So people networking, just a whole bunch of people talk with each other, communicate, sharing information. You could think of a computer networking just these devices, these electronic devices, computers, laptops, smart TVs, all talking to each other, all sharing information. And we have these work devices which help to facilitate this sharing of information, sharing of data. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. Please, if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel so we can get alerts for more good videos, more good teaching materials like this. Please share this with as many people as possible. Like I said, the goal of ABY Design and Tech is to bring world-class training to the masses free of charge. Thank you very much.